Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today's review is my top 10 horror films of all time. And this is my personal list of my favorite horror films. What I like, you may not like. So if you have something, give a list of your own, drop a comment below. I would love to see. And now, this being said, this film will have spoilers. So if you've not seen any of these movies, I highly recommend you go out and you stream or pop in a disc in your Blu ray player or DVD, whatever you have. So that being said, let's get started on today's topic. And coming in at number 10 is You're Next, a 2011 home invasion film directed by Adam Wingard and starring Sharni Vinson, Screaming legend Barbara Crampton, and T. West. The film centers around Erin, who, with her boyfriend Christmas, comes to a family gathering, and chaos ensues when three masked strangers break in and cause chaos. And not knowing what she has gone through, Erin is probably one of the best final girls in the film. She grew up on a survivalist camp, so her skills kick in, and she is badass, just too many levels, and actually has one of the most original kills I've seen in a horror film. Great effects where she puts a blender on the top of somebody's head and hits frappe, and just great film. Great gore, acting, cinematography is fantastic. It's top notch. And coming at number 9 is Return of the Living Dead, which is directed by Dan O'Bannon, and it stars Tom Matthews and Clu Gallagher. The film takes place at a medical supply warehouse where two members of the team actually knock open a canister in which releases zombies, and then chaos ensues. And this was actually the first film where zombies show intelligence and actually were fast style zombies way before 28 Days. This movie has a really hardcore punk rock feel to it with the soundtrack and some of the editing. And also, the film also, I forgot to mention, stars Scream Queen legend Leigh Quigley, who pretty much is most couple scenes in the film is pretty topless and bottomless, and which is, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And has one of the best characters in a horror film, dubbed Tarman, who has probably one of the best lines in the film. So if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Coming in at number 8 is Starry Eyes, which was directed by Kevin Kolsch, and it's a very obscure film. It starts off normal, then just goes on to left field. The film centers on Alex Esso, who plays an actress, Sarah, who's vying to break into Hollywood and working in a dead-end job in a Hooters-themed knockoff restaurant. And basically, when she goes to an audition, things go sideways, and that's when the film just takes off. Has some of the really, really awesome gory effects, practical. I think maybe just a little CGI, but not overbearing where it looks like fake and makes you want to just shut the movie off. And the film also chronicles what it takes for actors and actresses struggling in Hollywood to make it, and not everybody has the chops to make it, and just delivers on many links. And at number 7, The Strangers. In my opinion, probably the best home invasion horror film that was made, starring Liv Tyler, Scott Speedman, and it was directed by Brian Bertino. The film centers on a couple that returns home after a wedding, in which some events cause them to be, there's a little tension between them, and when they're there, they try to rekindle something until a knock at the door reveals that they are targeted and stalked by three masked strangers who terrorize them for most of the night. Unsettling film, just great performances. And when Liv Tyler read the screenplay for this, she jumped on it immediately and delivers probably one of the best performances. Scott Speedman also delivers the best performance. The strangers are also fantastic. You know, the guy in the mask, the baby doll, and the pinup girl. Some of the best characters, and just the way they toy and mess with their minds. It's a new form of terror, just fantastic. And coming in at number 6, a independent horror film from 2015, Darling, which was directed by Mickey Keaton and starring the talented Lauren Ashley Carter and Sean Young. And this film centers on a woman that's hired to house sit at a mansion that has some dark past, and not everybody makes it through the job. And the film was shot in black and white and takes place in 1960s New York City, and has some of the best visuals, sound design. Great movie. I highly recommend this film. Lauren Ashley Carter should be in more horror films, so horror directors, hire her immediately. One of the best. And number 5, probably the granddaddy of all slasher films, the 1960s classic directed by the late Alfred Hitchcock, Psycho. And like another film that's on this list, it's based on the true stories of Ed Gein, the Plainfield Butcher. The film centers on the character of Marion Craig, which is played by Janet Leigh, the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis. And she basically, at her job, she steals money and flees town, and she stays at a hotel that's off road called the Bates Motel, and it's inhabited by a man by the name of Norman Bates. And what transpires is that she basically is murdered in the shower by a hidden figure. And later, and what twist this has is that the character lead actress who thought was going to make it through the film is killed 1/3 of the way through. Great visuals, fantastic film. This film is a study in great filmmaking by Alfred Hitchcock. And fun fact about this movie is that the lead actress, Janet Leigh, was so terrified by showers, she stopped taking them after the infamous shower scene. She took baths. And like I said, great movie. And what the plot twist is, the reveals that the killer is actually Norman Bates, as dressed up as his dead mother, which is fantastic. Coming in at number 4 is the 1984 classic directed by the late Wes Craven, A Nightmare on Elm Street, starring Heather Langenkamp and Amanda Weiss, and was the film debut of Johnny Depp. Now, in the late 1970s, Wes Craven was reading an article about some Asians that had died in their sleep, and the first 2 articles, he thought nothing of it, but the third case really caught his eye, where a kid had stayed up for a week straight and later had died in his sleep, and it got him thinking, and that's what happened, and that's when he came up with the story of Freddy Krueger. And the title role, Freddy Krueger, was played by Robert Englund, who is a dream demon who stalks children in their sleep, and not knowing what's going to happen, later revealed that he was a child murderer who was murdered by the parents. So in an act of revenge, he haunts the children in their sleep, taking them out. Well made film, great practical effects. Wes Craven delivered one of the best horror films in his career besides Scream and other films. The Hills Have Eyes. Awesome film. I'm sure everybody's seen that. Great movie. And coming at number 3 is a 1978 classic, Halloween, directed by John Carpenter. And the film centers on Michael Myers, who breaks out of the asylum after the murdering his sister 15 years prior, and he comes back to Haddonfield, Illinois to wreak havoc. And this film also marks the film debut of Jamie Lee Curtis, whose mother was in the film Psycho. The film also stars the late Donald Pleasence, who plays Sam Loomis. And fun fact, Sam Loomis is also a character in Psycho, which is also stars Jamie Lee Curtis' mother, Janet Leigh. Great film, well tension with a really haunting score by John Carpenter. Now, this film, what Carpenter got the ball rolling on this is he asked director Bob Clark, who did the 1974 classic Black Christmas, if he was going to film a sequel to that. And Bob Clark said, I have no plan. So that's what got the ball rolling on this one. And It's a fantastic horror film, and another fun fact about this film is that the mask of Michael Myers was bought at a store, and it was a William Shatner mask from the 1975 film The Devil's Rain, which had the face spray painted white and the hair had changed for that. Great film, has one of the best ending scenes you will ever see, and it has one of the best final girls, Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. And coming in at number 2 is the film that I just talked about briefly in this last one, was Black Christmas, a 1974 classic directed by the late Bob Clark, who also directed A Christmas Story, which is kind of an ironic twist, a family film and then an adult horror film. The film centers on a killer who stalks a sorority house during the holidays, and creepily unsettling. And what is good about this movie is that you in fact never see the killer. You see him lurking in the shadows and stalks and harasses them via phone calls, and just the tension is great. A well crafted film. I highly recommend it. And now we're at number 1, and the number 1 horror film, in my opinion, of all time is the 1974 classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, directed by the late Tobe Hooper, starring Gunnar Hansen. And the film centers on 5 teenagers who, on a road trip, their car breaks down and they meet their fate at the hands of a sadistic family who are human cannibalistic monsters. And this film, the tension is just grimy. After viewing this film, you basically have to either shower or bathe. That's how creepily unsettling this film is. The set, so many stories. It's claustrophobic and just gets under your skin. Gunnar Hansen delivers probably one of the best performances in horror history as the character Leatherface, even though technically it was really not a name. He was referred to as Bubba. Gunnar Hansen, I mean, Tobe Hooper delivers a great film, great punch. I highly recommend this film. Go out and see it. And once again, thank you for stopping by the channel and listening to my incoherent ramblings. And I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and have yourself a wonderful day. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time.